So, hello everyone. Welcome to a new session in which we are discussing some prompt engineering interview question. So, we have to understand what are these questions, and so let's start with some basic question. That is the first question is that what is prompt engineering? Okay, like prompt prompt. What is prompt? Okay, so this one like yeah, right prompt engineering. Okay, one of the most underrated things in this era. So many of the company ask some question related to this one. Okay, so first question is that what is prompt engineering? So what is okay? So we can say that so about the prompt engineering is that so prompt engineering is a practice of designing an effective input that is prompt. So like practice of designing some input like perfect input. So input that we call as a prompt. Okay, for a large language model for what? For that many GPT we are using that LLMs for the LLMs. Okay, to produce the accurate and relevant answer to get perfect and accurate answer yeah output. So like prompt engineering is a practice of designing input prompt for a large language model to get the perfect and the accurate output. So it involved the iterative refinement considering this aspect like structure, tone, task type. So like we have considering the many aspects. So like many aspect we have to see the aspects are first of all like structure. What is the structure? Okay, what is the tone of that input? What is the type of that input? What is the output format we want? Okay, format we want. Okay, and like these things we have to keep our mind so that it guide the model behavior efficiently. So it is like a guide for the models. Okay, so these are like important things. So first of all, what is prompt engineering? So prompt engineering is a practice of designing or generating the input that we call as prompt for the LLM, the large language model, to produce an accurate and the relevant output. For that, it requires many aspects the structure, the tone, the type, and the output format, which guide the model behavior efficiently. Okay. So the second question is that is what is the zero shot prompt? Okay. So what is a zero shot prompt? So let's discuss. It is the most important. So like what is zero shot prompt? And we have to give it with some example. So zero shot prompt mean that in this case, like a zero shot prompt give the model a task without any example. Okay, a zero shot prompt is like giving the like uh, like uh, like give give the model give the model okay model a task. Okay, task without any examples. Okay, without any examples. So what some so we have to explain with this some example. That is we have to take prompt that is this one. text I have to change, like, let's leave it. In that case, we have to use this one, like classify classify the review, classify review as positive. Okay, review as positive, neutral. Okay, neutral, negative. Okay, and review this review this movie was thrilling. Review this movie was thrilling, as a thrilling. Okay, thrilling masterpiece, piece masterpiece, and sentimental, like masterpiece and sentiment. Okay, so in that case the output will be, positive. Okay, so like zero sort prompt is like give the model a task without any examples. Okay, so in that case I given that classify a review like positive, negative, neutral, all this thing. This movie was thrilling masterpiece and this thing, without giving any like example or anything. So it provide me this sounds like a, positive things. Okay, so next question is that, let's move to the next question, that is what is the temperature in the LLM configuration. Okay, like what is the temperature? So right, what is like temperature in LLM configuration. Okay, configuration. So like uh, so we can say that temperature control the randomness of the output. So like this temperature, what does this temperature stand in the LLM? Okay, so this temperature is that, so like temperature control the randomness. Okay, this temperature control the randomness of the output. A low temperature, that is, if for example bias, if you have to see, if a low temperature, that is like example 0 0.1. So result a more like a deterministic output. Okay, well, a high temperature, that is high temp, if we have high temperature, that is 1.0, like a 1 or 0, in more creativity and diversity. So in this, like more deterministic answer, in this case we receive more deterministic output. Okay, but in this case we expect more creative and the like more creative and diversity in our answer. Okay, more creativity and diversity in the our output. Okay, so our sound is clear, everything is happening well. Okay, so next question is that these three things, like temperature, we understand the temperature, and so like next question is that what is the few sort prompting and how should it is used, how should it be used? Okay, so we have to explain what is, so what is a few sort prompting. Okay, and when should it be used? Okay, it will be used. Okay, so we can say that a sort prompting, this thing, few sort prompting. So few sort prompting provide a multiple example to the LLM to help to understand the pattern and structure of desired output. So few sort prompting mean that like we are helping the LLM, like helping the LLM by giving some pattern. Okay, to understand it and give the desired output. So we can write here, we can write like a few sort is like provide. In that case, we provide multiple example, okay, multiple example to LLM, okay, to help to understand understand the pattern, okay, understand the pattern, okay, and then understand the pattern or structure, okay. So understand the pattern and structure which help of the desired output. So it is used when a zero sort prompt. So like a zero sort prompt in which you understand a zero sort prompt. Like where we write like zero sort prompt. Zero sort prompt like give and model a task without giving an example. So it is used when a zero sort when the zero sort prompt is fail. So like used when zero sort prompt like fail, okay, or when the task complexity require demonstration or the accuracy. Like one case is this one, and another case is like any task, any task which require some like any task which requires some like demonstration or like example, okay, demonstration and like example things, okay. This means that a few sort prompting is used. So we provide a multiple example to the LLM to help to understand, like we can, so this way like uh, LLM, okay, like these are the like LLMs that are, so we have to give some example. So example, like what do we get, like, so for the LLM to we have to give some example to understand and return the output, best output. So result, so yes, result, okay. So there is enough, like we want some so in that case we want some specific result. So in that case we provide a multiple example to our this LLM which give the desired result, okay. So what is the difference we have to explain? The next question is that we have to explain the difference between system prompt, contextual prompt, and the role prompt. So three things that are like system prompting, okay, system prompting, contextual prompting, okay, prompting, okay, role prompting, okay. So these three things we have to explain. So first talking about this thing, that is structural prompt, okay. So structural prompting define the overarching task or the like task or the output format, okay. So so we can say that like system prompting mean that, so it define defines the overarching task or the output format, okay. So it defines the overarching task and the output format. And the thing is, what is the contextual prompting, like supply, like contextual prompting supply relevant background of, like contextually we have to provide relevant. In that case, we have to provide some relevant background, okay, relevant background and the task specific info. So as the name suggested, contextual prompt. So in that case, we have to provide some relevant background and the task information to train our LLMs. Okay. And like role prompting, what is role prompting? So in that case, like assign a role, act as a travel guide, all this like role prompting mean like assign some like persona. Okay, assign some persona or a role. So assign it some persona and the role. So act persona to the LLM. Okay. Okay. So we can say that if we have like the user. Okay. So this is like AI like please like act as a. So I say that act as a this in this case. So act as a like a teacher, act as a travel planner. So in that case, it become a contextual. In that case, this become a contextual role format, role prompting. Okay. So it define the overarching task or the output format. This is known as system prompting. Contextual prompt like we have to provide a relevant background and the task like a relevant like we have provide relevant background and the task specific information. And when we are like talking about the role prompting, in which we have to assign some persona that act like this one role to the LLM. Okay, this is the prime example. Okay, next thing is that next question is that how do the top K and top K and top P sampling work in LLMs? Okay, so so top K and top P sampling uh, work in LLM. Okay, so this we have to understand. So in that case, we have to answer like this one. So like what is top K? So first of all, we have to understand what is top K. Like and that's top K sampling in LLMs mean that to select the top K, we have to select the top top K most probable token. Okay, probable token and the samples from top K samples from them. Okay. So this one is selecting the top K most probable token and the sample from them. And when we are talking about top P sampling. So in that case, mean that include the smallest set of top token whose cumulative probability exceeded the threshold P. Okay. So these control the randomness and the output diversity. Okay. So these are the like intermediate question, like what is the top K sampling? So like all this thing. As per my thinking, these are the like very like not that hard question. So the thing is now let some question that have some weightage and some values that is so like we have to select. Okay. Okay. The question is what is chain of thought? Okay. Chain of so that we call COT. Okay. Chain of thought prompting. Chain of thought prompting. So chain of thought prompting encourage the LLMs. So like this feature like encourage. So we can write that the chain of thought prompting. So chain of thought this prompting encourage the LLM. Okay. Encourage the LLMs to like generate generate the inter generate the intermediate idiot reasoning. Okay. intermediate reasoning, okay, and reasoning steps before answering, okay, step before answering. So the chain of thoughts mean that it encourages the LLM to generate a intermediate reasoning step before answering, and it help to improve the reasoning task, that is like math, logic, all these things, by making this process more interpretable and accurate. Okay, so like chain of thought help the LLM to like improve their reasoning task. Okay, and this next question is that uh next question that is that is like what is self consistency prompting and how it differ from the COT. So self consistency consistency, okay, versus COT, chain of thoughts, a chain of thought. So self consistency built on the COT. Self consistency is like is a base. So self consistency is a base for this one. Okay, okay, by sampling multiple reasoning path using like high temperature. So high temperature is the like process in which like we get a more creative and the diversity output. Okay, so self consistency and the like for the self consistency build, like COT is the most like base for this one. Okay, where multiple reasoning path we have, like we have high temperature and extracting all the answer and selecting the most frequent one. Okay, from the multiple reasoning. So we can say it from the multiple like from the multiple reasoning. Okay, multiple reasoning path, multiple reasoning path. We extract the most frequent one. Okay, so this boosts the accuracy and the reduce inconsistency. Okay, so self consistency is like built from the base of the like chain of thoughts. So chain of thoughts encourage like intermediate reasoning state before the answering things. Okay, so which is base for all these things. Okay, which boost the accuracy and reduce inconsistency. Okay, then another thing is that is chain of thoughts. Okay, like chain of thoughts and TOT, like tree of thoughts. Okay, tree of thoughts. Okay, prompting technique. Okay, prompting technique. So like TOT generalize COT by exploring multiple reasoning paths. Okay, as the name suggested, tree. So like as the name suggested, tree. So it definitely like to explore different path. If this is like thinking part, we have to explore this path. We have to explore this part. If we have to explore this path. So in this path, there is a multiple approaches. So we have to explore this path. We have to explore this path. So if we choose this path, okay, so if we choose this path and go this path, so the output will be different. If we choose this path, the output will be different. So this is known as like tree of thoughts. Okay, exploring multiple reasoning path in a tree like structure instead of single linear path. Okay, it is suitable for the more complex where the multiple solution of the branch need to be evaluated at the parallel time. Okay, we understand this topic. Okay, so another question is that what is react prompting and how does it relate to the agent? So don't relate as a react. Okay, very simple one. So okay, so what is a react? Okay, so react mean this re or act as a different meaning. So re mean this one like reason. Okay, and act mean like acting. Okay, as the name suggests, act. reasonable act. So like prompting combine both reasoning and the action. Okay, this is the action. Okay, so in this prompting technique require both reasoning thing and the action thing. The LLM perform intermediate reasoning and take action like querying the external API or the tool, and it is the foundational for the building augmented AI agents. Okay, so React is like it involves reasoning and the actioning things, and where LLM perform intermediate reasoning and take action like query external API or the tools, all these things. Okay, and another question is how does the automatic prompting engineering work? So that's more other area that we have to explore, that is automatic automatic prompting. Okay, prompt engineering. Okay, okay. So how and what is that automatic prompt engineering? So APE, if we call it short form, we'll call APE. Okay, so this means that this is a model to generate a variation of the prompt and evaluating them. Okay, so we see that you can say that this is like a model, like APE involve prompting a model to generate a variation of a prompt, evaluating them using different rug score, blue, and selecting the best performing one. Okay, so this help to optimize the this help to automate and optimize the prompt design. Okay, so like one more thing, the most important and most valuable question we are seeing now. So what is the question is that what are the best practices 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 when crafting the prompt? Okay, so the answer for this question, so what are the best practices when like crafting any prompt? So what we have to think? Okay, so for this one we have to answer in like, so the approaches we are writing here, approaches that are like we have to use examples. Okay, example to guide the model. Okay, example to guide the model. And another thing is be concise. Okay, be concise and careful, and be concise and specific. Okay, and prefer instruction over constraint. So prefer instruction, so instruction over like constraints, all this thing. And control token length, control the token length, control token length. Okay, explicitly. Okay, you use example to guide this model. Be concise and specific about what you are asking. Prefer instruction over constraint, like don't put some constraint. Okay, like you have to go in this direction, so you have to like instruct the like LLM instead of like a constraint, don't use this value till this limit. Okay, and control the token length explicitly. And another thing is that use variable for the dynamic prompting. So use variable. Okay, variable for the dynamic prompting. Okay, dynamic prompting. Okay, and experiment with written style and format. Okay, so if you want to like do some experimental thing, use like writing style and the format. You have to experiment with the writing style. Okay, style and the format. Okay, these are the like key important and key practices before crafting any of the prompt. So these are like use example to guide the model, be concise and specific, or prefer instruction over constraint, and control a length explicitly, and use variable for the dynamic prompting, or experiment with like this thing. Okay. So all okay. And another question is that how you design a prompt to extract structural data from the unstructured input. Okay. So this one is like this one we are doing like the advanced version that we are like so in this like we are like using applied and practical prompt engineering. Okay. Okay. So we are like using applied and practical prompt engineering question. So that first question is that is based on that how you design a prompt to extract. So I have to like design the prompt to extract the structured data from unstructured input. Okay. So this is a question. So design a prompt to extract the structured data from the unstructured things. Okay. So first of all, understand this question, and so in that case, what is our answer? So we have to answer like use a system prompting. So like we understand the things that we are system prompting. Here is the like system prompting. Let it define the overachieving like task or the output format. Okay. So in that case, we have to explain. So like we have to use like structure system prompting with the explicit schema and the guideline. Okay. So in this case, we have to write like we have to use the system prompting with the explicit okay schema schema and the guidance. Okay. For example, instruct the model to return the output in the JSON format. So like so we can say that we can set our model to return the output in the JSON format. Okay. So this is the thing that we have to like give like you have to like order, you have to give instruction to our model what we have like this is the structural this is system prompting. Okay. And providing schema and clear example like you also have to give some example. So in that case like we have to use like one is like a zero sort and this is few sort. So we can use few sort programming techniques tag. You have to use few sort programming technique. So in which we have to like give. So in that case uh, we can use like few sort programming technique. Okay. Few sort prompting. So few sort prompting things. You have to like provide a schema and clear example to help to model to confirm the structure format. Okay. So like what is this format? So I have to write in this form like classify this review. Okay, classify this review and return a JSON object with object with field and sentiment the movie name. Okay, movie name and sentiment and movie name. Okay. So this like this thing is like classify this review and return a JSON format of JSON object with the field sentiment, all these things. So this will return these value in the structural format. Okay. So I think I have to wrap up with some question that are like, what strategy should we you use if the prompt calls the LLM to loop for repeat filler words? Okay, so this is known as a repetition loop bug. Okay, so it can be mitigated by adjusting the sampling setting, temperature, top k things, limiting our output token, engineering the format to force concise output. Okay, adding explicit stop sequences. So like this, we had to add some explicit stop sequences to like restrict these like repetition bugs, all these things. Okay. And another question is that how do you handle the long or multi-turn task with the LLM? So in that case, we have to answer that we have to use set pack prompting or multi-step COT. So COT is chain of thinking, or what we call it, chain of thoughts. So chain of thoughts. Okay, TOD means tree of thoughts. Okay. So another thing that how we debug the prompt that it return the inaccurate or hallucinated responses. This one is the last question. So how we debug? Okay, how we debug debug a prompt. Okay, prompt that return some return return inaccurate accurate or hallucinated responses. Okay, so in that case we have to answer like to answer. So in that case we have to answer. So the answer are as follow. So we can say that like in this case, first of all, simplify the prompt. These are the technique by which we can like debug our prompt. So first of all, simplify the prompt. Okay, simplify the prompt. Lower our temperature mean that we become more demonstrative as than descriptive or more creative things. Okay, so if higher temperature, this means more like more creative or more creative or more like experimental things like. Okay, so lower the temperature for the deterministic answer. Okay, deterministic output. Another thing is like add example. Okay, that is few sort. It's not zero sort. This is few sort technique. Few sort prompting technique. Okay, and provide stricter instruction or the role or persona. So it is like a role we call as a role prompting. Okay, so provide so stricter instruction. Okay, or role or slash schema. Okay, or experiment with the context parsing. We have to like experiment with the context parsing. Okay, and if using API, check the token truncation issue. Okay, so if using some APIs, okay, so if by using if it is using the API, we have to check the token truncation. Okay, truncation issue, all this thing. By using this technique, we have to debug, or we can debug the like prompt. Okay, first simplify the prompt, then lower the temperature. To understand what is the meaning of temperature, temperature defines, like we have discussed earlier, like temperature control the randomness of this output. If it's low temperature, more deterministic output. If a temperature is high, like it become more creative and diversity, it provide a diversity output. Okay, then at lower the temperature, add some example, provide a structure instruction, and perform like a role of things. Okay, if are using API, check the token truncation issue. Okay, so okay, we are wrapping this session this year. If we found more like question related on this, like this prompt engineering, we definitely do in the next session.